Hello everyone and welcome to GRPJ, a good reason to play JRPG. With me this time is my good friend Ben Saint.
Hey everyone.
And we're gonna talk about the RPG Lisa.
Lisa, aka Lisa the Painful.
Yes, Lisa
depending
the Painful.
on who you ask.
There's 3 games in the Lisa trilogy. One of which is like a free game, which was like just a little project.
Yeah, it was just a little dinky game released on some forum somewhere. It's very much like Yume Nikki, but like a much less fleshed out version of Yume Nikki, even though the developer claims that he barely played Yume Nikki. And then the second game, Lisa the Painful, was kickstarted pretty successfully and was like a more fleshed out like RPG adventure.
Yeah, and that's the main one.
Yeah.
It also has DLC/sequel.
It's DLC, but it's mostly a fully fledged sequel. It's smaller than the main game, but it's a full story in its own right.
Yeah, if you're playing one, you should play both. The first one, the little dinky one, it's free, but it's not really that important.
You can get away without playing it, although I would recommend it if you like it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you play Painful and you like it, you should play Joyful because that's the real ending.
Yes, and this video is going to have spoilers for Painful and Joyful.
Oh yeah, spoilers through the whole thing.
Yeah, so if you're interested, I guess we could give like a brief, like what it is. It's an RPG which is got a bit of dark humor, and
it's a good blend of dark humor and sort of sadistic, like tragic kind of pathos, as well as
real cool characters that you like,
but a lot of goofy comedy too. The setting and like everything about the game, I would say, tell me if you agree, I think everything about the game is saturated like in equal parts, in like it's both goofy and comedic and silly, as well as like tragic and sad and miserable.
I would say that
like the soundtrack is like desolate and like stuff in times, but it's also got like weird quirky like samples from the Shenmue games and stuff, and like weird trumpet riffs and stuff. Yeah. And the characters are all, the character art is all, they're all kind of like Mad Max style, like wasteland warriors, but they've all like got these weird suspender outfits with like these big red nipples.
Everyone has big red nipples.
Everyone's got nipples, and all their nipples are like a red square, 2x2 pixels.
Yeah, the pixel art is good.
Pixel art is kind of
minimalist.
It's minimalist and it's weird, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It really suits the tone of the game.
The animation they do with the pixel art they have really makes the most of how little pixels there are, like the low resolution. They make the most of each little thing.
I feel like the art for this game was definitely made by someone who is not like an artist by trade or anything.
Yeah. They
were just kind of fucking around and just doing their best as they went along, and it's great and I love it.
Yeah. So that's if you haven't played the game, and now I'm gonna start looking at my notes and talking about things. To start off with, we have obviously the introduction to the game, which is you get beat up as a little boy.
You do.
You're a little boy, and you get beat up by these bullies, and then you just walk home, sadly and very somberly, with the sun setting and a guy mowing his lawn. And
Bradley, what are we gonna do with you, boy?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something like it. It paints a very sad picture of this kid.
Yeah.
And
he's a good kid though, because the bullies were beating up another friend of his because he lost their ball or whatever, and he's like, I did it,
Yeah.
Beat me up instead. So they beat him up instead. But really they just both end up beat up.
Yeah.
It's probably unnecessary, but he did it anyway.
And he walks home, and he gets to his home, and it's his dad is a fucking drunk, abusive.
His fucking dad.
His bottle throwing at his head sort of guy.
His dad Marty Armstrong. He's like this. Yeah, he's a character, but he's also, especially in Lisa the First, the original game.
Yeah, the Lisa the First is like backstory for Lisa specifically and Marty.
The dad recurs as like this just image that haunts all the characters all throughout.
Yeah. I guess we'll talk about Lisa as the person when we get to the story.
Okay, we'll leave that for the story section.
Lots of stuff to that particular character because it's in the title.
Yeah. Right. I do kind of want to say that sometimes, I think some people could play all the way through Lisa the Painful and not know who Lisa is.
Yeah, I thought when I first played that it was Buddy.
Yeah.
That it was like the girl in the game is Lisa because that's a girl name.
But no, that's Buddy. I think outside of maybe like a secret ending cutscene, I think only one time in the whole game does anyone say Lisa, and it's Brad right at the end.
No, it's Buzzo right at the end, isn't it?
At the end of Painful?
Oh no, not the end of Painful. The end of Joyful.
Does he
say Lisa?
At the end of big spoilers. At the end of Painful, when Brad is a mutant, he crawls into the hut and finds Buddy, and he says Lisa.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, and I think that might be the only time anyone says. Although you do see the word Lisa appear when you're baby Brad or child Brad, and you go into your room and cry. But that's not dialogue. That's like the title screen in a way.
Yeah. So the intro, you go in there and then it cuts to way in the future.
Yeah. In
a post-apocalypse world where Brad is a man.
Yep. It's like a Mad Maxy, deserty.
Yeah.
Kind of situation.
So it's a world where there's no women.
Yes.
And that is integral to the story of the fact that he finds a little girl baby out in the desert, the only girl ever, and it's a story of Brad trying to protect this little girl from the horrors of the world.
He brings it. No, I guess that's story stuff. Well, whatever. He brings it back to his hut with his friends, Ricky, Sticky, and Cheeks, the best characters in the game, and they say, "Well, we should bring this baby to the Rando gang because they're powerful and they could like take care of it."
We don't know that the intro. The intro is just sort of like he's raising her.
Intro.
No, well, it's the end of the intro that she's gone. You don't know it's Rando, do you?
Yeah, they say we should take her to the Rando gang, and he's like, no, he's like,
oh yeah, they suggest it, and
he's like, no, I'm doing it. This is my chance.
Yeah.
This is my only chance to redeem myself. Ooh, what does he mean?
Ooh, we'll get to that. Yeah, so it sets the tone very well for the whole thing, like the real sad, somber attitude, but then there's like funny bits of dialogue.
Like when he finds the baby.
Yeah.
He finds the baby and he's like, oh, baby, and he's kind of tossing it. He just drops it. Like, oh shit. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. And
I'll never do that again.
Funny, but it's like awful.
Yeah, it's dark humor. It's a dark, humorous game. That's the intro. I will cut out boring bits if there are boring bits, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll just be terrible the whole time. Then you just cut me out completely. You just say I'll cut out boring bits, he says, and then I watch the video and I'm just cut off and it's black on one side.
You will be cut off mostly.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Symbolic.
Yeah.
All right, so the next part is the aesthetics, which is the way it sounds and looks. I really like.
Everything's great about the
Everything's
aesthetics.
great.
Everything's fucking beautiful.
At first it looks kind of like really cheaply made and like the title screen especially is very.
The title screen actually looks bad, and I don't know. Terrible. I don't know why he left it that way. It's like just this stupid green.
It's like a stock. It is a stock RPG Maker intro screen, but with a little graphic of a
girl
kid
hanging from a noose.
Yeah.
So I mean that's fine, but this hideous like teal gradient with like this blank white text.
I mean, he does use gradients a lot in like the sky. Like I look at the graphics of just like buildings and little bits and stuff on the ground, and I'm like, you know, I could draw all that. I could have made a game that looks exactly like this. I've made like multimedia fusion games, usually where the character is like a little square sprite, and then the game box is too big for that square sprite, and it's just a tiny little thing walking along on the bottom.
Yeah.
There's too much space for the sky, although in this game, they do have a lot of up and down movement, but
this game
at first it looks not very good.
No, the game is not like technically that impressive, you know?
Yeah, I could see myself making something similar.
It's really, yeah, the combat is pretty much, I mean, there are twists and there is stuff that makes it unique, but for the most part, the combat is what you expect from a JRPG. Yeah. And, like, you know, the level design is pretty, you know, there's a little platforming. It's pretty much just kind of, you know, walk here, walk there. Yeah. Whatever. And then, it's like the story and the aesthetics and the characters.
It's the ideas that really make it funny. Like
and the execution and like the charm of the way he executes it all. Yeah. Is what's really great
it's
about
like,
it.
Like all the things that are in there, like weapons and armor and stat boosting items and normal RPG stuff. He just gives them really interesting names and concepts that work with the story of the world and stuff.
Yeah, my favorite example is the currency of this world is mags, and neither of us knew at first what mags meant, but it does eventually become clear that mags is porno mags.
Porno mags, because
there's no women in this world.
There's no women at all, and
the currency of what people want, like what's valuable to the man left in this world, is fucking pornography.
Yeah, which makes a lot more sense than fucking bottle caps or stuff from Fallout, because I mean, I guess anything can become a currency, but with something like porn mags, like, you can understand why people would want that if there's only men.
The whole idea of, like, this world only has men in it, it's really executed...
misogynist?
No, it's really executed to its fullest, I think. He really went all out. Like, there's a whole side area where there's all these men, like, dressed as, like, old-timey prostitutes. Yeah, there's all these men in drag. They run, like, this brothel.
And you got to get off somehow.
Yeah, and like they're all kind of
needs.
Yeah, some of them are. One guy is just like, you know, here to. God, what does he say? There's some guy at the Beehive that's like, you know, you here to have fun, you here to have a good time, or you here to judge or something. Like, these guys are like, you know, they're all just doing it because they need to, you know? Like, it's funny. It's funny that there's all these, like, these ugly bearded men in like, you know, corsets and fishnet stockings, but they treat it with, like actual pathos, and, like, they're actually... They love it. There's some of them like it. Like, there's a guy you can find that he gives you a dance, like, in the basement, and he seems to really get off on it. But then other guys are like, this is my job now.
Yeah, even you, as the player, can... You can go in, and then...
You can work for her.
Yeah, you go to, like... The sex scenes are like battle scenes where you use, like, special techniques, like kissing on the back of the neck, and it
like whisper in their ear, like, or something.
It's just so funny. But
it's awesome.
It's such a funny concept in a ridiculous setting where there's only men, and but it's like you could imagine that in real life, if that was the case, things like that would turn out like that. Yeah. Like, life could be that weird.
Why not?
Yeah. It's just it's a very human feeling game. All the characters are real people, it feels like, even though they're funny. Even though they're slightly exaggerated. Like, it makes sense.
The main character, Brad, is complex, and he's morally gray, and he's got, you know, like, his whole quest in this game is kind of, spoilers, kind of misguided in the end. Like, you start off, you know that Buddy's been taken by a thing called the Rando Gang, and you're like, oh no, gotta save her. And Brad's like, I gotta save her. And you, the player, are like, oh yeah, let's save her. She's important. But, you know, and then later on you meet Rando, and Rando is he looks scary, but he doesn't act scary. Like, he's nice to you when you meet him the first time. And like, you crash your motorcycle into him, and he's like, "Oh, sorry about your motorcycle."
You crash into him, like, and your motorcycle breaks, and he's just standing there completely still. So he's very intimidating.
Yeah, but then he's got this scary skull mask.
He apologizes very profusely for breaking your motorcycle and gives you all of his food.
Well, he doesn't apologize. Does he speak?
No, I don't think he speaks at that time. He tells one of his lackeys to go and say, Rando is very sorry, and here's all our rations for breaking your motorcycle, even though you crashed into him.
But then his lackeys attack you anyway because they don't want to give you the rations that he wanted them to give you. Yeah. So, you know, Rando's a nice guy or whatever. But then, you know, but anyway, as you go on this quest, it's like, well, maybe Brad is wrong, and he shouldn't be trying to get Buddy back. But he just keeps going, you know, and, like, you can understand why, but even though it's bad and he's doing the wrong thing, the developer has said that Brad is a really flawed character, but I think
It's the sort of thing that anybody would do in that situation. Like, if you think about, like, the way that...
He's doing the wrong thing, but you know why. Yeah. And you can sympathize with it. Like...
I mean, really, every character is like that. Brad is, like, the main character, so it's very obvious with all the story. But, like, every character... they have, like, realistic goals and wants and desires and feelings, even though some of them are complete jokes.
Yeah. Even the jokes are treated well and reasonably. But the developer has said that Brad is a very flawed character, but and Painful ends, or the way Painful ends is really sad. Like, Brad basically suffers the worst fate imaginable, and he accomplishes, or like he gets to Buddy, and she doesn't want to be saved, and he's
part
like,
of the reason it's sort of morally grey what he's doing is that he is doing something against her will. Like, she doesn't want him to protect her and stuff.
No.
And by the end, God, that choice right at the end where you get
the choice at the end. And you're Brad. Yeah, you're Brad through the whole game. And then, but only at the very end, you get the choice as Buddy. Brad is dying in front of you, and he's like, "Please hug me." And it's like, do you hug him or do you not hug him?
And it's like
doesn't change the story.
Change anything or any achievements or game ending. It's just like, what do you think? What do you think Buddy should do after all this shit?
I think most people hug him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, God. I mean, in spite of all the moral grayness, and like you have to sympathize with Brad.
Yeah.
Even though he did the wrong thing his whole life, he's so sad. And then, so that game ends kind of on the question of, is Brad good or bad? But I think by the end of Painful, it's like, all right, in Painful, you have that scene at the end where you see Brad like in all the ways that you remember him.
Oh, you mean at the end of Joyful?
Sorry, I'm talking about Joyful.
Yeah. The end of Joyful, there's that scene in Buddy's mind where she's thinking of all the nice things that Brad has done.
Yeah, she remembers him.
But then you're forced to kill that image of him anyway.
Yeah, you have to fight your way through, like, younger Brad, and when he's like kind of like, when he's on drugs and stuff, when he was being a bad guy, and then like when he's like an older version, and like he's got like makeup on him because he lets you like paint makeup on his face and stuff.
God.
Yeah, and then his name changes to Dad, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, I love you," and you gotta fight your way through him.
And then it's like, instead of attacking you or whatever, or just like crying, it's like Dad hugs you when it's his turn to do something, and you're like, ugh.
Oh my God.
It's so fucking emotional.
And then even at the end, even Buzzo, like when Buzzo's dying, he's like, "Listen, buddy, Brad was a good person. I was wrong." So by the end, like, and then like reading through the developer's tweets on the subject, like the guy used to be called Dingaling Games, but he's recently his dad passed away, and he changed his name to Love Brad Games. And in an essay, he wrote he wrote kind of a thing about it, and he said that Brad was like in a lot of ways based on his dad, or like not in every way, but in like his determination and like his sticking to his guns or whatever, some of the more positive qualities that Brad had.
Yeah.
And so
I guess we're talking about story and characters now.
We've been talking about story and characters because
basically the aesthetic is great.
Yeah. And the music is great.
Oh yeah, the music and the sound effects.
The music was all done by the developer, which is weird because he's not a musician by trade or anything, but he just has this really great...
He downloaded Fruity Loops and he went to town.
Just like the art, like it's not necessarily all technically brilliant, but it all has this great charm to it.
It's technically possible. Like he has the ability to make it at all.
Yeah.
And then that's enough for it to, because he just needs to get his ideas out there.
He just gets
really good.
And he just imbues, like the art and the music are both imbued with the same kind of like weird sort of silly. Like the story of the game is really serious, but the art and the music are kind of goofy, although serious at times when they need to be.
Yeah, so...
He fucking did it, man. He did it.
Oh, and the sound effects, I was gonna say, the sound effects are like... They're actually really, really good sound effects because they sell a lot of the motion that the animation is lacking. Mm-hmm. Like, the animation is usually just a frame of something happening, especially in the fight scenes, or like, if there's a guy with a bat, you never actually see the bat being swung, or maybe there's like one frame of it changing, but then the the impact sound and the blackout screen. It's like it really like sells everything like really well.
Yeah, it does.
Sound effects, sound design is very good.
There's a lot of little sound details in there that probably didn't need to be in there. Just like little like work sound effects,
Yeah.
little like squidgy sound effects or something when something moves or someone reacts to something.
And when you're walking along, every surface has a different footstep sound.
Yeah, like you'll be walking along dirt and it's like tick, 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 but then you'll step through a puddle of blood and it'll kind of...
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, aesthetics is great, and also we talked about a bunch of other shit. That's good. This game's great. What after the aesthetics, we can talk about the gameplay. So the actual what do you do? The physical movement around. It's
a JRPG, but it's sort of, I don't know if this is like a normal thing that RPG Maker does, but it's built like a side-scrolling platformer for a lot of
RPG
it.
Maker is built on a grid, and it's still on a grid with the thing.
Yeah, it is
like,
on a grid.
You move like one thing at a time, even up and down ropes and stuff.
Yeah, but it's
made
from the side, and it's like you jump around on ledges and stuff, and you climb up ropes and things.
So it's not really a like physics-based platformer, but it's still a platformer in that you can jump.
Yeah.
When you have the right thing.
Yeah, like you get at first you can't really jump on ledges at all, but then later you get this tiny bicycle, this awesome tiny bicycle that your big burly bearded bald man rides around on. A lot of the art has like big Brad like riding around on tiny bicycle. Anyway, you get that and suddenly you can jump over like small ledges. Or you can sort of like get some distance if you go over a ledge a bit. And then there's a bit of light platforming involved, and it's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun, but it's the platforming is overall pretty weak as a gameplay thing. Like
but it only comes in one or two places.
Yeah,
like there's a part where you're going.
It's never really terrible. It's just sort of tedious and like it can be annoying.
Well, I think it's a good diversion because like the core gameplay of the game is so basic.
Yeah.
It's good that there's.
I mean, I can't really imagine it
like
being
that.
any different. Like if it was like a normal platformer where you could actually jump like a Mario character or whatever, it wouldn't make any sense.
No, that'd be really weird.
I don't know. I feel like I guess you can't really do a 2D RPG that just goes left and right, so maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm just...
It is fine. It's great.
I guess I'm just bitter a couple times where I just walked off the cliff because I didn't see it coming.
There's one or two ledges where you go through a screen transition and suddenly there's a ledge there and you might fall off and die by accident.
Yeah.
And
the screen transitions are like you just walk to the edge and then there's the next box and you walk to the edge of that, there's the next box, and some areas there's a longer box that scrolls, but the screen transitions are good for for puzzle solving, because there's a little bit of puzzle solving in how to get to certain ledges.
Yeah, like you have to go up the right rope to get from the right starting point to use your bike to like jump down to the right place,
or like not use your bike to drop down to the correct platform sometimes.
Yeah. There's a secret area. I don't know if you found this. There's a secret area that can only be accessed if you get off the bike. Because if you're on the bike, you'll just ride right over the hole. But if you get out, you have to get...
I don't know what you're talking about, but I know there are places like that.
Did you not find Fishman Island or Fish Island?
Oh no, I didn't find that.
Yeah,
I heard about it.
In the swamp, there's just a little one tile wide space, and you gotta just get off your bike and hop down it, and then there's a whole little like secret side plot area.
Was it like two ledges and then what looked like water? Because
maybe
if it was in the swamp,
it's in the
is
swamp.
It outside the building? Or is it inside?
It's outside. Okay,
I probably just walked over it because I assumed you would die if you fell in.
Yeah, it looks in every way like a thing that you would die if you fell into.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that place actually has my favorite party member, Harvey the lawyer.
Oh, I've seen all the characters in the wiki. That he's the guy with the little fish with the business suit.
The tiny fish with the suitcase and the hat, and he just has an Uzi. And he just like he's this little businessman fish, and he just pulls out his Uzi and he just puts it away, and then he like spits water and stuff. Oh, and he like opens up his briefcase and like just like throws documents. He like throws different like court orders at people, and like the court orders are the things like he can order you like a restraining order so you can't attack anymore, or like something to like baffle you with legal jargon to like make you pissed off so you can't use special attacks.
Just makes you pissed.
Yeah.
I love all the status effects.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what all of them do, because like feeling weird. I don't know what feeling weird ever did.
Yeah, the status effects are not your normal shit in this game, because like the gameplay is a standard JRPG, but it's all got weird names, weird twists,
and weird concepts for things that can happen.
You can there's feeling weird. I think it just generally lowers your stats. There's being pissed off, which is basically like being enraged or berserk or whatever.
Yeah.
There's being.
But does that mean that you would attack your friends by accident?
No.
Okay.
No. So it's not like being berserk. It just means
your attack is raised. Like, why would that?
I think it just means you can't use like spells.
Oh yeah, maybe. Maybe
think
you could
that's
only attack, and then if you need to heal and you can't, then it's bad.
You can be stunned or knocked down, both of which are basically the same, but you can like be both also.
My favorite strategy is when there's like 5 different enemies, and then you do like a leg sweep that knocks the
headbutt slide or whatever.
Yeah, one of those things that just has a very high chance to knock people down. And when they're knocked down, they try to get up for at least one turn.
It wastes a turn for them to get up.
But then you can still keep doing the same thing and knocking them down before they have another chance.
That's stun lock or knocking them all down is the good. The other strategy that works out really well on certain bosses. One of the status effect is called oiled up or oily.
Oh yeah.
And there's only one. You can become oiled up. Like certain equipment, like there's a greasy poncho you can wear, and if you wear the greasy poncho, you're always oily. Or you have a party member called Birdie, who you get later in the game, who can spit up oil on people. And the thing about being oiled up is that it makes fire damage do like quadruple damage. So later on in the game, if you get Birdie in your party, you spit on the boss, like you oil them up, and then you just have a couple of your party members with strong fire attacks, like, and then you just do ridiculous damage. So that's one. I don't think
I found that guy or
Birdie. He's like lying in a bar, and you just have to like give him a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, that's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's really cool. He's got good.
I should try and get him next time.
He's one of the guys who is nice to you even at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of party members,
there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of party members.
There's a shit ton of party members, almost none of which are necessary, but a lot of them are pretty cool.
What you mean necessary? You mean like
you have to get them.
Yeah.
Wait, well, maybe half. Maybe half of them you have to get.
Not half. There's loads of them. There's like 20.
There's like 20. A lot of them were made as rewards for like Kickstarter donators when the game was being made. But you can't really tell which ones were the Kickstarter rewards and which ones were original.
Yeah, there's no equivalent for that. What was that Undertale Fat Dragon guy?
Everyone hates on that guy. I don't even think he's that bad. So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's not the guy. It's just the character design is a bit different from everything else.
Actually, there kind of is. I think the one that sort of stands out is Garth, the artist. He looks really weird. I think he looks cool, honestly, but he sort of looks a little too cool. And,
I guess. And I did want him in my party, but I couldn't find the thing that
he's actually terrible. Like he's really bad. I think. I tried to use him just because he looks really cool, but he's stupid.
We agreed. We tried to film this before, by the way.
Yeah, this is our second take.
So if we forget to say something, whoops. I guess.
Yeah.
But we agreed already that we talked about Nern being the coolest.
Nern is one of the. He's the second party member you get after Terry, right?
The second one you can get.
And his introduction is like the funniest part of the whole game, because like you find him sitting on a ledge by his house, and he's gonna talk to you about like what's going on in the history of the world, and he starts to exposit a little bit about the history of Olaf and like what caused the apocalypse and all the women died and stuff, but he gets off topic and he starts talking about like how pissed he is at his wife and stuff, like how much he hated his old neighbor Dale Spooner.
All the while this like epic music is playing.
As it starts off with this epic tale, but it just goes like, so my goddamn horse bitch of a wife made potato salad again. We showed up to Dale Spooner's barbecue with potato salad again. Meanwhile, his wife made a fruit salad with whipped cream topping. Can you believe that? I had some words with my wife, believe you me. Now, all I'm saying is Dale Spooner's wife is a hard 7. My wife's a soft 4. Why can't I get a woman like that? I'm a tall guy. I work out 45 minutes a week. Like, goddamn potato bitch of a wife. God rest her soul.
Just so funny.
He just can't stop himself.
He's the coolest, and all of his abilities are about talking too much. Like if you can bore the enemy to sleep.
Yeah, you discuss techniques with your party members and refill their energy gauges.
Discuss MP and SP or whatever.
Discuss health.
Discuss health
to restore HP.
Health comes back. It's great.
He's one of my favorite.
I kept him through the whole game.
I didn't use him. Well, I didn't use him in mine because he actually died really early on for me. I'll talk about that in a second, but the sad thing about Nern is even though his introduction is so funny, is there's like because there's so many party members, they don't get much focus through the rest of the game.
It's not really much a game about you and your band of guys. It's like you and some hired mercenaries who may or may not be interesting.
The guys are pretty ancillary, and they get like, aside from their introductions, all they really have is like their victory. When you win a battle, you get 1 or 2 lines from them about just whatever.
Yeah, and then leveled up or not, or the loot you get. They have like 2 or 3 stock phrases for that.
Yeah, and then at the very end, the 3 like final party members you bring with you will have like 1 final line about the situation. It's some of which kind of reveals their true character, or like what their real motivations were. Yeah. Which is kind of some of them like actually liked you and wanted to be your friends, and some of them were like all planned to betray you all along or whatever. Yeah. It's great. It's fucking great.
It was. All those guys are... Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that they're not, like, there's no story elements really tied to them aside from how you recruit them, they are all really cool characters, I think. Well, a couple of them suck. There was one that I never got around to finding, but I found the item that would allow me to recruit him. I just didn't realize.
Was it Mad Dog?
No, it was Wyatt, the Wyatt brother guy.
Bo Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him, even though he's not great, but he's like a bard, and he does like the whole like party buff thing. But it's pretty cool. The
really cool thing about the way you get that character, what I learned, is that you have to get an item in a cave, which is like the scariest, like the real, the super scary moment that made me shit my pants.
It's not. It would be a stretch to call it a jump scare, but I was spooked.
I jumped.
Yeah,
I pretty jump. It's the sort of like, because like there's no buffering or any loading in between screen transitions.
Yeah.
You walk to one edge of the screen and it's instantly the next thing. There's sometimes it could be really surprising if there's just a sprite that was there that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And in this instance,
you're walking through this cave and there's this weird flesh stuff.
Well, I thought it was like tree roots at first because it doesn't look like flesh. It's just weird.
It's hard to tell what it is. There's weird twisty flappy stuff.
And then you get down to the bottom and you go into this thing and then it's like, see where it's coming from. It's coming from a guy's body.
A guy's body is like sitting there and his neck is like stretched up and into like the ceiling. And just his neck is all just everywhere, and he's holding this record, and you pick up the record,
and then you leave, and then his fucking head on his really long neck is just
right there,
and it's
right in front of you.
Battle.
Yeah, you gotta fight him. You gotta fight Henry Wyatt.
It's so scary.
It's really fucking scary. And then you beat him, and his head's just like, and his head just hangs there, like forever.
I've heard that if you bring Bo
back there, he leaves your party because he's too sad. Because that's his brother, and he's like, "Oh God, Henry," and like, it's reasonable.
We murdered him.
Yep. Well, you don't tell him that.
Well, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like, he's a mutant, so once you're a mutant.
Speaking of mutants, we could talk about that a bit. The mutants are, in this world, there's this thing called joy.
They never. It's kind of ambiguous what's going on, but you can sort of piece it together.
They didn't say until like the joyful what was actually happening, but I pieced together that joy is what is a drug that causes you to turn into a mutant at some point. I thought like maybe after you die.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot. As you go through the game, there's like this one mutant thing, and it's just like a guy but with a weird sort of shaped body, and you don't really know what it is, and you go up to it and
you pass him by. There's this guy called Punker, or Punkert, and you pass him by, and he's just a guy. But then on your way back, he's like this weird amorphous blob, and he's really strong.
Yeah, and
he drops joy when you beat him.
Yeah, and from that point on, every so often there's just a really big, horrible blob mutant thing, which used to be a person, and the designs for all of them are really.
Some of them are
grotesque.
Really neat. Yeah,
like
some of them are
really
cool. Some of them are gross. Some of them are funny, sort of. In Lisa's really characteristic dark way. Yeah,
and so a lot of them are really just scary. Like there's that one, I think that's on like the soundtrack for Joyful, the soundtrack album cover thing is like this one where it's like his eyes are like big and black, and then there's like streaks of like red that come down.
Yeah, like his eye sockets are like stretched down because his face is like this huge bulbous thing. Like, I think his name is Beatty.
Yeah, they all have names.
Like
even I just love the fact that everything is unique. Every single mutant.
All the mutants every mutant is unique. They don't recur twice. They all have their own name, and even the human characters you fight are all unique.
Yeah, every single just random bandit in a group is unique in some way or many ways.
You'll get ambushed by a guy, and his name will be like Piccadilly Joe or something, and then you'll kill him, and then he's gone, and you can never fight him again. Or you'll get ambushed by like a whole horde of enemies, and they're all named like Steve Tabuli or something, and they've all just got these weird names. I think a lot of them were patron rewards, but like
maybe
whatever. It's like the point is they all have a unique name and a unique sprite, and they even have unique abilities.
Yeah, it's really nice because. I mean, it wouldn't really take that much just to think of a bunch of silly names for these characters.
Yeah.
But the fact that the game is, like... There's no, like, a big bunch of enemies, like a it never gets really boring fighting, because there's not too much of it in either game, I don't think.
No.
You just sort of...
there is. A lot of the game is Earthbound-style RPG fights.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot shorter than most other RPGs, though. Like both of them.
It's only about 10 hours for the game.
10 hours?
Yeah, it took me about 10 hours to beat Lisa the Painful, and then maybe like 5 or 6 to beat Joyful. Mm-hmm. And Lisa the First you play in an hour or two.
I don't know. Well, yeah. I just feel like it doesn't go overboard with anything in particular.
Definitely never wears out its welcome.
Yeah. Like I felt interested the whole way through the Painful. I couldn't really stop playing it.
I played it and then immediately replayed it on pain mode because I wanted to.
Oh, pain mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, pain mode is hardcore mode.
It's hardcore mode.
And it's really cool because there's like unique encounters and bosses and stuff.
There's a couple of unique bosses that you don't fight in the regular game, and there's a secret area with like secret lore and stuff that you can only access in pain mode. And the other thing about pain mode is that your save points, you can only save once at every save point.
Yeah.
Meaning there's like a limit, and you can't save scum your way through it. Well, you sort of can, but it's limited. It's
difficult to
yeah, and you're always. It's kind of honestly, it kind of puts like a Dark Souls sort of like where's the next bonfire feeling on it, which I really liked.
Although in Dark Souls you can grind on enemies to get more powerful if you're having trouble.
You can technically do that in Lisa in some places.
In one or two places in the Painful, yes.
Yeah, there's in certain caves there's like shadowy figures that jump out at you, and you can grind on those. Or in the swamp there's infinite snakes if you want to fight snakes. Although that's a bad idea because they poison you.
Yeah, I didn't really like doing that. Oh yeah, the choices.
The choices.
Yes, there's lots of choices in this game, some of which change the ending a little bit.
Some of them change the ending. A few of them change the gameplay a bit.
And they're not all of them are like binary choices that you get presented with. Like
not entirely.
There's the choice of not taking joy, which is one that you can get an achievement for.
Oh right. Speaking of gameplay, Brad is a joy addict, and joy is an item that when you use it in battle, it makes you super powerful and fully heals you. but if you are addicted to joy, you will occasionally suffer from joy withdrawal, which just like kills your stats.
Yeah, you completely suck in every way.
Yeah.
And you basically can't really fight. And it happens really very often.
It happens pretty often.
But it's
so you're tempted to take joy.
You're tempted to take it, but I was always like morally opposed to the idea of like giving into an addiction for even just for someone else, even though it would make the game easier. You know,
it does make the game easier. There's other characters that are joy addicts too.
I didn't really use any of those.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Like the drag queen is a joy addict. The super handsome guy that you have to buy with mags is a joy addict. The pink ranger is a joy addict. The tiger mask guy is a joy addict. There's a lot of them. But there's one other character that won't join you if you've ever used joy.
Yes.
Ajit,
which is really cool.
Yeah.
He's a cool bigger Indian man.
He's like, if you've used joy, he's like, you're not pure enough or something.
Yeah, he was really good. I used him a lot for like status effects. He had the Punjab poke.
Punjab poke.
It didn't cost anything to use, and you could blind the enemies and put them on fire. And I would do that every time just to make sure that I would take as little hits as possible.
Setting your enemies on fire and poisoning them. Yeah, like that's the strategy for most bosses. For tough bosses is you poison them and set them on fire, and then you like stun lock them.
Yeah.
Or you have Birdie and you oil them up and then just blast them with fire attacks. Those are the two.
Yeah,
but speaking of choices.
Yes, the choices.
Yes, there's some of them are forced in the story. And some of them are kind of implicit, like the choice of whether to take joy or not, which does affect the ending.
Yeah.
Only in painful, though, not in joyful. And then, although there are a lot of other choices in joyful, maybe even more. And then there's, there's story points where your enemy, Buzzo, who hates Brad and wants to torture him, will stop you and force you to choose between things like cut off your arm or
killing your party members.
Cut off your arm or kill a party member. Earlier on, your childhood rival Columbo says, once you've got your first party member, Terry says, either give us all your items or give us Terry. And then if you give him Terry, you have to fight Terry as an optional boss later on in the game, which is pretty great.
Yeah. Is that only on pain mode?
I don't know. It might be a pain mode only thing, or it might not. Oh, and speaking of which, like I said before, Nern died early on for me, which is why I didn't use him a lot. And the way that he died is that, alright, so kind of Dark Souls-y in a way too, is that there are fireplaces littered around, and the way you heal is you sleep at fireplaces most of the time. And the fireplaces they heal you and stuff, but when you sleep at them, bad things can happen, like people can steal your items and rob you while you're asleep.
Spiders can poison you.
Spiders can poison you, which sucks, and just means
guys
you have
can
to
just
sleep
leave
again.
your party just outright.
Yeah, if you've done sometimes it happens if you do bad things.
I guess it's just like some characters, like they have a propensity against. Or they don't like it when you do certain things.
Some things can like affect their loyalty, and then if you sleep, they will leave you in the night.
But only if you sleep.
Only if you sleep.
And then even then, only sometimes.
Yeah.
Which means if you save, you can. If they leave and you've saved beforehand, you can just sleep again and see if it's something else.
You can try to. Yeah, you can try to save scum, like some kind of dirty cheater, if you want.
I don't know. I just didn't like characters leaving.
Oh man.
I mean, it was always Nern for me that was going to leave.
Speaking of characters leaving, well, before we get to that, I'll say, yeah, I slept at a bonfire and got Nern kidnapped, and they left a note that said, "Come," because there's three different like main area, like hub areas in the game that you progress through, and at each one has like a gang that's in charge of the area, and this guy, the gang in charge of this zone, kidnapped Nern, and I went and found him, and they were like, "Give us 400 mags, or you won't get him back. Don't try anything funny, or we'll kill him." And I was like, well, I don't have 400 mags. I guess I better fight them to get him back. And then, just like they promised, as soon as I started to fight, they shot him in the head.
Yeah.
And then we fought, and I won the fight, but they shot him in the head, so he was dead.
It's cool that it's actually you can't do anything about it, sort of.
No, there's just you gotta get the mags or
they do actually have him hostage. It doesn't matter how high level you are, how easy it is to kill them. They have a gun to his head.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do.
And then there's a real rough part. This happened to me in the final zone. The same thing can happen. There's another gang there.
Oh yeah, God.
And this time the Tiger Man got kidnapped. But
the last one, the gang.
If you go there before, they're like a biker gang.
They're just a biker gang.
And you can see like the one guy, he's got a white helmet on. Like they all got red helmets, but the leader's got a white helmet. And he's like, yeah, standing on the ledge.
Yeah, and you can talk to them. No, you can't talk to them. They don't really say anything.
Yeah.
But they will kidnap a party member potentially, and if they do, you go back there. And one of them,
they're all dead.
The leader has mutated.
Yeah, they're all the members are dead and like torn up and stuff. And the leader is this like he's become a mutant and he's roving around. And I think you have to fight him, right?
Yeah, you have to fight him.
Yeah, you have to fight him.
Well, you don't have to fight him.
You could leave, but if you fight him and then you go like to the far
just
part,
a little bit to the right, you'll see the results.
There's just a pile of mush, and if you talk to it, it's like, is this like that's what's left of your party member?
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
It's so fucked.
It's awesome.
God, there's so many cool little bits like that, like just like going back to an area and then it being totally fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, usually due to a mutant appearing.
Yeah, there's especially in Joyful, there's like throughout the game, the old areas just everything. Yeah, all the old areas just start to fill up with mutants and corpses.
Corpses, like the idea that the mutants are like they're really racking up. In popularity, there's just everyone's turning into
popularity.
Mutants. Well, you know,
everyone's really starting to come around to this whole mutant thing.
Not popularity, population.
Yeah.
There's just loads more mutants, and there's people fighting for their lives, and they're dying in the hundreds and becoming mutants, and it's like this is like the worst part of the apocalypse at the moment. It feels like it's ramping up to the worst bit where everybody's basically dead.
I think it's partially that, but it's also partially in that game at least. Buddy has started taking joy, and she starts to go. She's definitely under the effects of it, and I think that it's kind of implied that some of the mutants and stuff that appear in that game are in her mind, because at the very end, she even like there's like Brad and Rando kind of standing around in the area, like alongside all these other mutants and like corpses and stuff.
I don't know.
I think it's a combination of the two.
I think there's a few maybe like that, but I feel like most of it is like the idea that.
Or maybe it's only when Brad and Rando show up.
I think that might be it, but like it's mostly I feel like that Buddy is deciding to take over the world by killing the most powerful people in the area, and those are the people who keep the peace.
Let's talk about Buddy. Let's talk about the character development of Buddy. Let's just
quickly see if there's anything more about the gameplay we can talk about.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's finish gameplay. When we get to characters, the character of Buddy is probably the most interesting and the most debatable.
Well, I guess we can talk about a little about the level design, which is very, very easy to follow, because you start off. This is a platformer, so you can go left, right, up, down, and there's caves. But each area is like, there's a blockade, like, first it's like the bridge is out, and then there's like, I don't know, something else that's stopping you from going, and then you gotta get a boat, gotta get items for a boat, and it's
Yes, that's the boat jingle.
And, but there's never like a moment where you're wondering where you're supposed to go. You just need to go into every cave you can see until you get everything.
Yeah.
And all the way the levels are the way I guess this is aesthetics, but everything looks cool. I like all the different colors and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of different zones with a lot of different character to them. Like, is it in the first game or the second game that you gotta fight that, like, Indian tribe with the blood trees?
That's the first game, because you got to get the wood to build the raft. And there's only one tree left, I guess.
Yeah, there's one last blood tree, and you got to fight Bloodiest Wolf to beat him. Yeah, that place is really cool. There's like snowy places there's a snowy place with all these like
mangled corpses at the top.
Oh yeah, there's a snowy mountain where you fight Buff Van Dyke, and like at the bottom there's all these there's like guys hidden in snowmen who just like pop out and like shoot you with guns because they're hiding in snowmen, and there's these footballers that just like jump at you and slide along the ice and like suicide bomb at you. Why? I don't know. Because it's Lisa and it's hilarious. And then at the top, yeah, like as you climb the mountain, you start to see these like faces and hands in the snow, and then you get to the top and there's this giant pile of white corpses, and there's one man on fire running around, and you fight the man on fire and he just dies. And what does it mean? I don't have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Is it like being implied that it's not snow but ash?
What could be burning them though? Like what I assume.
Wait, margarita time, strawberry time.
All right. Yeah, what I assumed about that mountain was like it was just the collection of that mutant you find, because it's like the mutant jumps down like a real dramatic like with big arms. And I just assumed it's this collection or something.
Maybe.
There's lots of things that don't really make. You're not really told what they are.
Oh. Quick note, at the base of that mountain, that's what there's like a ghost of the kid, right? Rusty, right?
Rusty?
I think there's a cave with like a little vision of Rusty inside.
Oh yeah, visions.
There's visions. It's kind of a story thing. All right, we'll talk about visions.
Let's just talk about the story, because that's the most interesting part about the game.
It's the best part of the game. Is play this game for the fucking story, you idiot. The aesthetics are all great because of how well they serve the story.
Yeah, I mean, if it was just a game like an RPG with the pretty good sound design and animations and stuff, it would just be whatever. But like, the story is the coolest story.
It's great. It's so
because
good.
It's just really good. So what should we talk about first?
Oh god, alright. So Brad is a joy addict, and he, even from the very beginning, he's having hallucinations, right? Like he sees his dad and his baby sister like haunting him. Yeah. Like everywhere he goes. And it's he takes the joy to make them go away. Yeah. Or something. And
well, we should say the backstory generally is Lisa and Brad are siblings, and Brad's father Marty is
in his when you're child Brad and you're going through his house, you can find a crib with a baby in it, and so that's Lisa. Yeah, is the spoiler.
So Brad and Lisa are siblings, and Marty is their dad. Marty is a pedophile, rapist, abusive father sort of guy.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him.
Favorite character.
Yeah, he's good.
He fucks Lisa, basically.
He fucks Lisa.
And he makes Brad watch at some point, I think is implied.
He either makes him watch or makes him do it. It's not clear. It's not clear. Ooh. Yeah, there's a secret cutscene you can get at the end of Joyful that's like, he says like, "Here, Brad, take a drink. It's time to make you a man. Now let's go see your sister."
Yeah, that's what I assumed he was gonna watch, but make you a man. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is implying something more than just watching.
It's so gross. So weird.
It's very fucked.
I almost kind of wish that it didn't imply that it could have just let me. That it did. I don't know if it needed to go that far. Like, it didn't need to sell me anymore on the idea that Marty was a terrible person. But it did. It went the extra mile, and you know what? That's okay.
Yeah, so Lisa the First is a game about Lisa the person and her mind about being... Yeah. She's been raped and abused by her father. Yeah, and it's like a trippy sort of like in her own mind adventure game.
Yeah, it's like Yumi Nikki in that way.
And she goes around and it's pretty cool.
She goes around these kind of weird environments
that are symbolic.
Some of them are symbolic and metaphorical and whatever.
There's like a character in there that's like supposed to be symbolic of Marty's dick.
I think his name's Tricky Rick.
Tricky Rick.
And he looks very much like Rick from Lisa, even though Rick is actually a pretty good guy and not a rapist.
Yeah. But anyway, Lisa is
and she sees visions of Marty, her dad. Like his face is everywhere. Yeah. Like taking on different forms and stuff.
It's trippy and cool. Yeah. And the implication at the end of that is that, well, the implication on the title screen of Lisa the Painful is that has caused her to kill herself. Yes. So she committed suicide by hanging herself.
She's definitely dead.
She's definitely dead.
Yeah, she probably hung herself. I mean, there's no good reason to assume otherwise. Although, well,
Why? What do you?
well, there's the whole thing with Buzzo. Like Buzzo sawed her face off.
Well, I think that might have been before she committed suicide. Like it
I
didn't,
think that
like,
might have killed her, or maybe not. I don't know.
Why would he hang her up then?
I don't know. We don't actually see her hung up in the game. It's just the title screen image.
Well, all right. Well,
Yeah.
The point is that she killed herself because she was raped and stuff, and Brad feels responsible for not protecting her, which is why when in the apocalypse, when he finds this little girl, Buddy, he is very, very focused on trying to protect her from, like, making sure that he doesn't make the mistake again, making sure he protects the little girl.
Yeah.
So
Which gets kind of fucked because in Joyful, I hope I haven't mixed up Joyful and Painful. In Joyful, it's revealed that he raised her with like a fucking killer training. Like he
raised
knocked
her
out dudes and got them in a bag and brought them to his house and gave Buddy a knife and said, "Here, Buddy, now kill him.
guy.
So you'll be dangerous and stuff and not yeah. Like you have to be able to kill at a
like
moment's
in a
notice."
post-apocalypse, like it makes sense that he would make sure that take all the precautions possible. But there's one day when he comes home and Buddy's gone and his friends are dead, or missing.
Well, one of them's dead.
One of them's dead. I guess there's more bodies there. They just other random people. There's like 3 bodies.
Are they? Oh, those are like rando guys, I think.
Yeah. See, at first I thought that was just his friends' bodies.
Oh no, there's one of his friends and 2 other guys just in the house.
Yeah.
Which they've dug out like a secret basement. I'm pantomiming. They've dug out like a secret basement for them to live with Buddy, the girl, because no one can know. No one can know that they have a girl living there because the consequences would be dire.
The consequences would be that she would get fucked.
She would. They would all be fucked, but her literally.
Yes.
And he makes her a mask at one point, and like they only go out with like she's wearing this mask so people don't know she's a girl and whatever. That's the only way she can leave the house safely.
I was wondering like how he gets over the fact that it's a boy, because how can boys exist if there's no women to create them? Like, wouldn't people be suspicious if there's just a young person?
That is true.
Although I don't know when
that is true.
The apocalypse happened, so... I know there were other boys, weren't there? In that orphanage.
Yeah, there were.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what?
Where did they come from?
How long ago did the apocalypse happen?
Maybe it wasn't even that long ago.
I mean, it had to have been at least a few years, because like
couple years.
The guys seem like pretty well established in their life of living in a hut.
Maybe 10 years, but even then, like a kid would be, if it was a baby, it would be at least 10 years old. Maybe that's how old most boys.
Well, I mean, Brad has his hair when he finds Buddy, and he looks very much like he did. Other than his clothes, he looks pretty much like he did when he was a martial arts instructor. Yeah. So it can't have been too... I would think it would be at least a few years. I don't know. Once she gets to like 6 or 7, it's possible that, you know, like kids develop at different rates. Like it might be like, well, yeah, she's actually 7, but maybe people would assume that she's 10 or 11 or something. Yeah. I think that's... Yeah. You're right, though. It would be weird to have a child under any circumstances.
But yeah, he brings her out with the mask on. People don't know she's a boy. She's a girl. And one day he comes home and she's gone, and he goes on a quest to get her back by any means necessary. And it's basically just the game is you walking through the wilderness, picking up rumors and clues to try and find where she's been taken.
Yeah, and
killing everybody in the way.
Yeah, you see like graffiti from the rando gang being like, "Let's find her" and stuff, and like they put up wanted posters looking for her. There's a bit of a wild goose chase where you hear that they've got the girl at this like club, at this joy club, and you go and you fight the hair club, the men's hair club or whatever.
Where the hair becomes its own entity and is very dangerous.
Yeah, but because hairspray is flammable, they're vulnerable.
Yeah, there was that one guy who said hairspray is flammable.
You fight a bunch of.
It was a rando guy.
When you have to kill a bunch of rando soldiers early on, and one of them's like, "Don't kill me, I'll give you a tip. Hairspray is flammable."
It's like, it's true.
It's not. It's good. Well, it's a good advice. And then you kill him anyway. Advice. You have to kill him.
Do you have to?
Maybe you don't have to.
I left him alive.
No, you have to. Oh wait, no, you don't have to, but you do because that gang will.
In the cave, there's a gang, and they say if you kill all the rando guys, we'll give you something. What do they give you?
They give you access to an engine full of diesel fuel.
Oh, so you do need it, yeah.
Wait, but do you actually need those diesel firebombs?
Is it firebombs you need?
I think I think they just give you an engine for diesel firebombs.
I thought you needed the fuel for something specific.
I don't.
Or maybe you needed it to make the TNT. Or something.
I don't know.
I feel like that part of it was
mandatory. Yeah, okay. I think you do need to kill him to make that guy happy. This is back on gameplay, but how fucking cool is it that bottles are like a thing, right?
Oh, well, yeah, you drink beer or whatever, and then you have bottles and you can throw them.
You'll be walking around and there'll be like just beer bottles lying on the ground. You pick up the beer bottles and then there's like multiple things you can do with the beer bottles.
You can put soup in it.
You can put soup in them and it's a healing item. Yeah. You can put fuel in it and it's a combat item. It's like a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
And or you can actually just throw the bottle itself, although it's a waste of a bottle. It does do a bit of damage. That's another thing like the mags, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's just another like flavorful way that the items have been themed for this game. Like the thing that would make sense. I fucking love the bottles. Yeah. And also it's just cool that like, it's just sort of thematically cool that like, you're sort of walking around this world and there's just beer bottles littered all over the place and you're just like picking up these beer bottles.
You're scavenging.
It just feels right. Yeah. It just feels good. Anyway, the hair club for men, you fight the hair club for men because they say they've got the girl, but you find out that it's just a guy. They just have Farty Hernandez tied up there, and they've just been raping him and calling him a girl. Yep. Because everyone's been saying like, man, they got a girl, but man, she's ugly. But hey, I'd still get a piece of that. You know what I'm saying? But he's just Farty Hernandez. Like, hey, I'm not a girl. I have a mustache.
It was funny when I first heard that they were saying the girl was ugly, because I assumed that meant
Buddy was ugly.
No, not Buddy was ugly, but that something had happened to her face, like she got fucked up in a fight or cut or something. Yeah. And like something terrible has happened, but no, it's just a fat guy with a mustache.
Who joins your party.
Yeah, he joins your party.
And he's actually pretty good because, well, yeah, he's got, Farty Hernandez is a truck driver, and once he joins your party, you get access to like a fast travel mode, which is just that you can drive his truck like back and forth between the main zones.
The thing with...
But his combat abilities are that he just fucking slams people with his truck, and it just deals shit tons of damage, and it's actually not bad.
Damn, because when I got to the part where there was the Russian roulette, he was the first one to die.
You get him and you get Percy like right before the Russian roulette happens. I think you're meant to sacrifice him.
I actually managed to save Percy. Percy did the thing and it was fine. I was like, oh cool, you did it.
Farty Hernandez is one of a couple characters that are afflicted with depression, which is a status effect that is permanent and can never be gotten rid of, and it just reduces all your stats permanently. It just makes you bad. Yep.
So sad.
It's pretty sad. The other guy is Ollie, who is like some weirdo who lives on Trash Island and is like deeply in debt for like 2 mags. Like he owes someone 2 mags, and because he hasn't been able to pay off his debt of 2 mags, he's been working on this island.
What other cool things happen? There's lots of little mini stories that happen in various areas, like the burger place.
Yeah, the burger place,
which is like a town that
worships McDonald's.
Yeah, there's like a McDonald's style fast food restaurant where there's a little talkie box thing at the bottom of the cliff,
and they pray to it, right? They send their prayers for food into this this drive-through thing.
There's a little scene where there's an old man and a little boy. And the little boy goes up to it and like he's trying to. It's time for him to finally ask for a Big Mac and large fries. Yeah. And you know he actually just he prays, but it's like it's an actual order. Like, oh, actually, could I have
no pickles on that burger?
No pickles, please. And just ordering something, and then it flies in, and it's really cool. Yeah, I love all those guys.
That place was really great. There's more of that in, and then of course you climb the mountain and you have to
kill the god.
You kill the god or the like the horrible like monster meat man that like controls the place.
Yeah, it's weird. Is he just a fucked up guy? Because he has like a burgery like mask face that you smash.
You smash it inside, and it's not clear if what's inside the mask is like brains or if it's just like congealed meat.
Or if he's a mutant or not.
He can't be a mutant because he like talks and stuff.
I guess.
Yeah, but no, there's who the fuck knows? Wally, right? His name's Wally?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, anyway, it's awesome. Whatever it is. In Joyful, there's a bunch of like weird themed towns. Like there's the town full of the
pacifists.
The pacifists, yeah, who you have the choice to kill or not. But then because Buddy is going crazy at that point. Well, debatably crazy. You don't necessarily have to kill all the villagers, but you do have to kill their leader, who does kind of betray his ideals, and once you fight him enough, he does pull out guns and start shooting at you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that he pulls out guns of all things.
Yeah. So he's not, like, the villagers are actually never fight you no matter what, but the leader does fight you, so I guess he's not a great pacifist after all.
One thing that's interesting about that village is the fact that one of them in the middle is just a mutant and is going around and killing the other villagers.
I think that's later, like if you come back, right?
No, that's the first time through.
You sure?
I remember, like, that's a blockage. Like, you can't get through there and get to the guy without killing the mutant that's standing in the middle.
And they're all just, like, getting killed by it?
Yeah, they can't do anything, so they're hiding in that thing, in the houses.
So, alright.
It was weird, because some of those guys, if you go into their house, and if you've been killing them, obviously they'll run away from you into the corner, and then you corner them, and then you kill them. Mm-hmm. But I hadn't been killing them on my first playthrough, the one where I restarted, because it was too hard. Mm-hmm. I didn't kill them, but they were still running away from me.
I think they're just skittish.
I think they were. What I assumed was they were skittish about the mutant that was outside. So I thought, no, I'm gonna save you, and I killed the mutant, but I was still technically murdering the pacifists. So maybe they didn't like that either.
What, because you killed the mutant?
Yeah. No. I don't know.
So, alright, Buddy in Joyful.
Yes, let's talk about Buddy, because the painful is like Brad's quest to get Buddy. We talked about the end of that, where Brad dies tragically and turns into a mutant. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't need to know all the specifics. You can play the game to get the specifics. You know, we're just telling you the gist. Because Buddy in Joyful is the next game.
And Buddy, at some point in Painful, Buddy started taking joy. Like somebody gave,
I think it was Buzzo that gave her some joy. And
it
she
was
said
probably Buzzo.
Yeah, and she liked it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good shit.
Hot shit. So, and then, Joyful is Buddy on her quest to
take over the world.
Yeah. Brad is he's not dead, but he's basically out of the picture because he's a mutant, and Buzzo takes him away. And then she's like, "Well, I'm the only girl. You know, I'm."
Yeah, the whole time through Painful, she's sort of dealing with the idea that everyone's trying to protect her and, you know, keeping her locked away and hidden. And she's like, she's had enough by this point. She's like, "Fuck everyone. I'm gonna be the coolest. I'm gonna be like Boadicea and be the warrior queen and take over the world."
Yeah. She's like, the only way that I won't be, you know, made a slave or whatever, the only way that I won't be controlled and protected is if I take over. Yeah. And so I'm gonna do it. It's like, I'm fucking powerful. Because she uses all her like Brad training to like assassinate people.
Yeah.
There's a cool... Alright, so in the original game, the speedy mode of transportation was you had to have a bike. Yeah. In the second game, there's just a run button, but the running button basically works like a bike, and it lets you like ninja run around, and you like hop over ledges and stuff, and you like hop down cliffs and things, and you can leap onto NPCs.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, in some because. All right, story bit in the first game. I feel like I should go back and mention this. So Brad is a martial artist, and Brad had a protege named Rusty. He was like this poor kid who like he just sort of took under his wing like as out of compassion or whatever. Sort of adopted him as a son, and he taught him the
fireball technique and all that sort of stuff.
He taught him the Armstrong family martial arts, and that guy grew up to become Rando, the leader of the Rando gang.
I don't think that's ever made very explicit. I don't. If it was, I didn't catch it.
But you knew it, right?
I knew it because afterwards someone told me.
I think in painful, or I think in joyful, it gets pretty.
Oh yeah,
spelled out.
it gets spelled out in joyful.
But no, it doesn't. It doesn't get spelled out in
painful.
In painful. I think at the end of painful, there's a secret cutscene where you can see.
I think we just
Rusty has his face torn off, and so from that you can kind of infer that Rusty lost his face, so therefore, Rando, who has a messed up face, could be him.
Oh. Well, I think.
Also, I think he calls him Master Armstrong.
No?
I think. I could be conflating. I could be mixing up things between the two games.
Well, I know that in Painful you do fight him as Brad, and he has the same techniques.
Yeah.
And if you notice that, you could maybe make the connection, but it's not explicit until Joyful, where there's like a scene where Rando just tells Buddy. Because Rando...
Yeah.
The whole point of...
when they're resting at a campfire together.
Yeah. The whole thing about Joyful is that Buddy is now free from Brad trying to get her, and she was, Rando was going to be like the one that took her in and made her, help her procreate to save the world, save the human race.
Yeah, like protect her and help her,
But now she wants to take over the world, and Rando's like, I don't know whether you should do that.
Yeah, she's on this vicious quest. I'm just gonna kill everyone.
Yeah.
There's this wall with all the names of the gang leaders in the area, and she's like, I'm just gonna kill everyone on this wall. And Rando's like, are you fucking crazy? First of all, why would you do that? Second of all, don't do that. And she's like, are you gonna help me or not? And he's like, I want to protect you, so I have no choice.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty sad. Rando,
and she hates Brad. She fucking hates Brad.
Yeah. What a teenager.
Well, yeah, it's like it's you have to wonder how much of it God, this is after seeing him die right in front of her though. It's so bad. She's so terrible.
Yeah. She's such a bitch.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's pretty evil, but it's joy, right? The joy is making her go crazy. Throughout the game,
I don't know whether the joy is making her go crazy so much as...
I think it's both.
I think she's going crazy anyway, because the amount of stuff that's happened to her, the being the only one, having the pressure of having to save the entire human race and being protected at all times, and getting kidnapped and stuff.
I can get why she wouldn't like that, but she's just fucking a murderer. She's just an evil monster.
But it makes sense. I can imagine somebody turning into that sort of monster after all that shit happened.
I think for her to go as far as she does, it has to be, the joy has to come into it. I
guess it must, but it just doesn't feel like any of the other characters who have used joy have been that angry.
What about?
I guess
Brad. Brad's whole thing is that it's the same in Painful, because Brad, he's out for a quest. His actual desire is to protect Buddy, but then because he's kind of going crazy at the end, and he's becoming a joy mutant in the final battle. We should talk about the final battle of Painful and how it's the best scene ever.
The best scene, yeah. You after you've gone...
at this point, it is completely clear that Buddy is better off in the hands of the Rando gang.
Yeah, the Rando gang is supposedly going to take her to help her save the world by having her female powers to make babies, to save the human race and all that shit. And they're going to protect her. Brad still wants to take her back, and she is I think there's been a scene where she says, I don't want you to come.
She straight up tells him don't help me.
Don't help.
Yeah. And
but now he's here. He's abandoned his party, so he's on his own.
Yeah,
he's gone on the little raft.
He left them behind. He had to kill Shardy Hernandez, or whichever fucking Hernandez brother it is.
Yeah, it was the one you build the boat and you get to the last bit, and then he's like, all right, now let's go fuck the girl, and it's what?
Yeah, excuse me, Hernandez. What did you say? I want a piece of that ass. I want a piece of that ass,
and then you kill him.
You gotta fight. You gotta kill him. He's against you.
And then
and then wait, that's the island where you find fucking Marty, right?
Is it? No, I think this is before that. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is.
I think it's that island, because that's where you find Buddy, and Buddy takes your raft.
Oh yeah. Well, that happens, but then how'd you get to the next bit? How'd you get to the end?
Don't you remember what? Because you're on this. You get to this island and you find Buddy, and we'll talk about finding Buddy.
I know about that, but don't you get another raft to get to the last?
Well, you have to use Shardy's corpse and float the rest of the way.
That's true. Yeah, that is
she
cool.
takes your raft, so you just have to get on his body and float the rest of the way.
Nice.
Yeah, but at that island, there's all these beer bottles all over the place, all over the island, and then you go in this cave, and who the fuck is there but your fucking rapist, pedophile, monster dad, Marty, who is just this old man now, and he's there with fucking Buddy, and like, what the fuck is Brad supposed to... What reaction is appropriate for this situation? Like, this is the guy who basically killed Lisa, and here he is with Buddy, his, like, surrogate Lisa.
Yeah, and it all goes to fuck.
And he goes
completely insane and beats the shit out of him.
He goes completely insane, but he's going insane... But this is, like... God, this part fucking tears me up, right? Because, like, he's sitting there, like, I've changed, Brad. I've changed. And it's like... I don't know. I fucking debate over this in my sleep. It keeps me up at night wondering, like, can you ever change enough? Could anyone ever change enough?
I don't think you could change
to make
enough.
up for what someone like Marty has done.
Like the fact that everything...
Even if he would never ever do that thing again, can he ever be forgiven? I don't think so.
At least he'd need to get a big beating with a big fucking foot in the face. I mean... You can't get off easy. Like, you can't just say, I'm
at the very
least,
he could never expect Brad to forgive him. You know?
No.
Like, come on. But then
the whole reason Brad's fucked up like the way he is, the fact that he uses joy probably, is because of Marty and all the trauma that's surrounding him.
But then Buddy is like, no, Brad, you don't know him, or he's good. And it's like, Buddy, are you fucking kidding me?
She's just a little girl.
She doesn't know anything. But it makes me wonder, like, is he actually changed now? Like, would he have molested her? Or if the answer's no, is it just that he's too old and he can't get it up anymore? Like, is that the issue? Is he just too old to be an evil rapist now? Or did something actually happen that changed him? I fucking wonder about this all the time.
It's just, I don't feel like there's any reason... There's no, like, indication that Marty is in any way a good person aside
other
from
than that
raping.
Buddy thinks so. Well,
like what? Like how could he have just? Like if he had changed,
I will
and like he stopped raping because he can't get it up. Why would he suddenly be a nice person? Like he was an asshole. He was
I don't know.
Throwing bottles at his kid.
Maybe he regretted being a terrible person.
I don't know.
I mean, there is a part in Lisa the First. There's a level in it where you find images of Marty and he looks all like nice and sweet, and like you talk to him and like a little heart appears over his head. So I mean,
I thought that was like how he like shows himself to other people instead of, you know,
maybe
like he keeps up appearances but secretly he's a fucking...
It could be like what he was like before their mom died, because she probably died in childbirth.
Oh, you know, I hadn't considered mom.
Yeah.
That could be a big old thing.
Well, I mean, we don't really know what happened to Lisa and Brad's mom, but at the end of Lisa, there's two endings of Lisa the First, and in one of them, like, you find mom's tape, and you play mom's VHS tape, and you see, like, your mom from behind, and, like, you go and talk to her, but she turns around and it's fucking Marty. Like, because everywhere you go in Lisa's mind is Marty. Like, he can't escape him. Even her memories of her mom are all, like, tainted and ruined and stuff. So, yeah, it's we don't know what happened to the mom, but...
See, the thing is, Marty is like, he's a drunk, and a lot of part of Lisa the First is that he's drunk and he's like a fucking piece of shit and he's vomiting everywhere, and it's like, that's obviously the reason he gets to the point where he starts raping. Like,
we don't know,
he's really sad about the death of the wife, and he drinks,
probably.
and he's you know, stuff like that. There's beer bottles all over that island. I don't think there's any reason to believe that he is suddenly completely different. He's in the exact same chair.
He is in the exact same chair.
Exact same pose. He's just got grey beard and stuff.
I just wonder, like, was Buddy safe with Marty?
I don't think she would have been.
You don't think so?
No.
I think she might have. I mean, it doesn't mean that he could ever be forgiven, but I could see that maybe circumstances had changed and maybe she actually was safe with Marty. Like, maybe she'd been there for a while and she was like, yeah, he's a nice guy, he takes care of me. But who knows, you know? And then of course Brad.
I mean, really the only way to know is, like, has Lisa ever had has he ever been nice to Lisa for a long time and then started to doing the rape stuff? Because, like,
you know what? I mean, Lisa's a baby. Like, the first part of Lisa the Painful, she's a baby, and he's already an evil asshole who throws beer bottles at Brad.
Yeah. Because it's like, if he's being nice to her, and he wasn't nice to Lisa, then maybe there's a case to be made there.
So that does raise the question of like why she has these visions in Lisa the First of him being like a nice, sweet-looking guy, but maybe it's just like sort of a dichotomy, like he's not evil all the time, like sometimes he acts like a decent person, sort of.
Or maybe like her memories of him being nice is like really clouded with all the shit.
Well, but I'm saying that like ever since she was a baby, because this is when she was a baby that he was throwing beer bottles and
stuff.
I
guess. Nice.
Or it could be like the face he puts on in public to other people or something.
I don't know. I feel like if you're drunk all the time, it'll be hard to just put on a suit and act normal.
Well, I mean, people act different in different situations. It could be that he has a nice face that he puts on sometimes.
I still think I feel totally justified in beating the shit out of him until he's dead.
And then you get a choice, but the choice actually doesn't matter. Even if you choose not to kill him, you literally beat him into like mush and just leave. Like I think his legs are still there on the couch, but like his torso is just completely pulverized into a paste, and he's just splattered all over the walls.
And I think it's a joy blackout.
It's a joy. Yeah, like that. By that time, it's the thing where you have that weird red like intestine-looking background that flashes that kind of shows that Brad is going off the deep end due to joy. And the thing about that is that happens even early on in Lisa, in Lisa the Joyful. Like Lisa gets the same visual effect. That's why I really think that like her actions in that game are heavily influenced by the joy.
I guess.
Yeah, although not entirely, because like it's just the joy just kind of amplifies like what you already wanted to do, right?
Yeah, it's just sort of like steroids or something. So it makes you.
It's like emotional steroids.
Emotional steroids.
Oh,
we were
talking about the final scene. We were about to get to the final scene, and on the way there, you meet Marty, of all people, who's there with Buddy, and she runs away, and you have to sail on that guy's
Shardy's corpse to get to the place, and the final battle is Oh no! Wait! Before the final battle, there's Buddy gets caught by this guy with a claw hand.
Oh yeah, who is Sticky's dad?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Who you see if you go to like the left at the very beginning of the game as little boy Brad, you can see this guy like sitting under a tree, and then
I didn't know who that was, but I remember doing that.
He is there and he's sitting under a tree, and then later on in a cave you see like a vision of him just there.
Yeah, like a hallucination.
Yeah, and he looks exactly like he did when he was a kid. And then later on, afterwards you go after Buddy again, and you find her in the clutches of this guy. Only now he's like shirtless, and he's like got this claw hand, and he looks all evil and stuff. And he's like, I've got her. I'm making my mark on history. This is my girl now. I got the girl. I was like, was shit on my whole life, but now I've got the girl. Haha. I'm gonna mark her as mine. And he like tears off like part of her face with his claw hand.
Yeah.
And and then you kill him because he's a terrible person.
But then you have a little moment with Buddy, and
she doesn't even care. She doesn't even like care that her face has just been clawed to shit.
She just doesn't want to go back with Brad.
She doesn't.
And then you lose your name, don't you? You
that's when you become a nobody.
You've become a total failure. There's like a little text box that comes up. Let's say Brad is now. Doesn't believe in himself anymore. He's a total failure.
Like your class changes, right? And your abilities change and stuff.
Yeah, you become more like.
And at this point, it like doesn't really matter whether you gave up your arms before. Oh, do we even talk about how the fact that you can give your arms to Buzzo and how they change like the combat?
No, we didn't talk about that.
And how it changes the.
Yeah, it's cool that you can. Well, Buzzo does these things because he hates Brad. Where he'll like force you. We talked about the choices, but we didn't talk about the implications of losing an arm.
Yeah, if you lose one arm, it kind of changes the combos. If you lose both arms, it really sucks, and you move slower, and a lot of your abilities you can't do anymore.
Yeah.
So it's great. It is serious fucking gameplay consequences for these story choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of consequence heaviness in this game. In both these games.
Yeah. So anyway, you become a nobody, or your class changes, and then you're going after Lisa, and you fucking Buddy, and then you come upon the rando gang.
Yeah, and there's like 15, 16 sort of.
Yeah. You
like
gotta
really
fight.
Tough
There's
guys.
Tons of guys.
And you have to fight your way through all of them, and it's the coolest thing, really.
Yeah.
Because
Brad is like he's changing in the fights. Like he's getting these abilities like roar and scream and cry and stuff, which are abilities that the mutants have.
And this is finally like Joy catching up to Brad. Or, I feel like the way Joy turns people into mutants is when they're close to death or something.
I don't know. It could be.
It could be, or it could just be like when they're
it might just happen.
Maybe when they have no drive to be human anymore. Like when they feels like he's like a total failure, and people are shooting arrows into him, and he's just like, you know. I can imagine that would be a good time for you to turn into a big old monster.
He's like, he's fighting his way through this horde of guys, and they're like, at first they're like, get him, stop him, and he's like, kill four of them, but then they change, like, just let him have her. Like, he's not a human. Get out of here. Just give it to her. But he just keeps going, and he just
keeps going, and then by the end, there's like a huge pile of red mush on the ground.
You'd literally leave them all as like a pile of paste.
And then you have to fight Rando, and Rando's real tough.
Yeah, and he fights with your moves and stuff.
Yeah, you smash his mask off, and he's got real fucked up face, and then he's like.
He's the broken man. When you break his mask off, his name in battle changes to Broken Man.
Yeah.
Even though he's still really strong and tough and cool. Yeah, man.
And then you win, and then you sort of like kneel down, and then we talked about the choice.
The choice with Buddy.
Buddy hugging him or not, and that's the end of that. But then Joyful carries on exactly from that point, I think.
Yeah. Well, there is the one scene. There's one thing at the end there where you can go back and, like, before you fight the rando guys, you can see the trumpet man. Like, he's just on a ledge before. There's this guy. He's this guy with a trumpet who, at certain various other points in the game, when this certain trumpet track is playing, you can sometimes hear it changing volume as you move around, like you're getting further and closer to the source of it. And sometimes you can actually find the guy playing it, and he's just this weird-looking trumpet guy who like stops and looks at you, and then the song ends. Like,
because he's not playing it anymore.
Yeah, he's like, oh.
And it's funny because like he just looks like just a random silly character, but it turns out. And
you actually see him once before the apocalypse too. He's in the town. If you go to like a little secret side mission, he's there. He's standing there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But he turns out he's like the guy who made Joy.
And he might be responsible for the apocalypse, although it's not clear.
It would make sense if he's like deliberately made the apocalypse, because
maybe
the Joy mutants.
I don't know what else could have caused it.
I don't know.
And
it feels silly if there's just an apocalypse for no reason.
Yeah, they have to be connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Dr. Yado, and he's there, and you can see him right before the end, and then you do get a scene afterwards when Brad has turned into a mutant, and then he crawls his way to Buddy, and then like me all the time, he calls her Lisa Lisa, and then Joyful picks up right there.
Yeah, and Buddy is fucking fucked up in the head. She goes in Joyful. Rando is there to try and protect her for a little bit, but then she decides, no, you're not good at this. Nobody's good at this. I have to be the one to take over the world. I have to protect myself and she finds this big stone tablet with the names of all the major people in the area.
Yeah,
in
gang
Olaf.
leaders and such.
Gang kings, and she decides she's gonna kill all of them.
Yep.
And that's
the story of Lisa.
Of
Joyful is killing all these gang leaders to put yourself on the tippy top. And Rando leaves at some point. I guess he can't handle it.
Yeah, I think he leaves after you kill the first three guys.
Yeah.
Which is the trucker guy in the thing with the something or other.
Yeah, the last Hernandez brother, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he looked like them.
Mm-hmm. Only he's got big hair.
Yeah. So there's that guy who's I don't know what to say about all these characters, because they're cool and interesting in the context of the world.
Yeah, I guess we don't need to go into every.
Well, we don't need to go
every
into
little one.
Every
other than to say that Big Lincoln is really cool.
Big Lincoln is really tough and
hard,
cool.
And he made me use joy in the game.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
And you didn't use joy, and it's a miracle. Joy. And I can't fucking believe anyone could beat the game without using joy. I think that you're intended to use joy, and it's like balanced under the assumption that you will use joy. But I guess it's not strictly necessary.
Well, I can talk about my first playthrough of Joyful was fucked from the beginning, because there's this battle near the very beginning where you're just your buddy and Rando, and you're up against these thugs. There's just like 5 or 6 of them, quite a big group. But you can kill them because you have a lot of healing items.
Rando is also the only party member in Joyful, which is one of the biggest changes between Joyful and Painful. There's no party collection aspect to. Yeah,
because there's not really any way for Buddy to recruit people as a girl.
No.
Everyone wants to kill her once they find out. Mm-hmm. But Rando is a good boy.
Yeah, Rando helps her at the beginning.
And in that first fight, I let Buddy get knocked out, and Rando had to finish everyone off. But that means that Buddy didn't get any of the experience from that fight, and that's a lot of experience for the beginning, which would level Buddy up twice. And since I missed out on that, there are no grinding spots in Joyful at all. So every single enemy counts a lot when you're trying to deal with, because it's really tough, and it is, I think, designed for you to use joy because it's thematically relevant.
Yeah.
But I tried not to, and it's too difficult to not to.
Incredible.
So I had to start over and make sure she got that experience. And by that point, going through and killing literally everything, including like deer, like anything I could kill, I would kill all the pacifists. Mm-hmm. Just squeeze all the XPs out of as many people as possible.
Good.
And I got to a point where I had a healing ability, which I could use to heal myself nearly up to full every time. Oh, and there's another thing I did. I took Rando's armor, or something, one of his items that he had, before he left my party, and I gave it to Buddy, so that she was like significantly stronger than she would otherwise be. That's pretty good. Because there aren't a lot of items you can get for her. There's like 2 swords you can find.
Speaking of Rando's armor, there's the whole thing in Joyful about how different NPCs you have to wear the mask a lot of the time, because some NPCs will attack you if you don't have it on.
Yeah, you can't buy anything.
Yeah,
if you
the
don't
shopkeepers will attack you if they know you're a girl, because they want to fuck. Relatable.
Yes, I attack every girl I see.
Absolutely.
You wear the mask, and there's like multiple.
There's other masks too, and I think they all work. Although after a certain point, it doesn't really matter, because like everyone's gonna attack you anyway. Yeah. After a while,
they know that you're the girl and you're dangerous, and they will attack you all the time. The Terry mask. I found the Terry land.
That's that's right. You find like Terry's secret hideout where he's all alone, and he just makes statues of himself.
It's like it was actually a real place.
Yeah, I assumed he was like a wandering dude, like he was like going around like living among the people or something, just giving tutorials to like all the little people. But apparently he's just this sad weirdo who lives on like a cliff in a hut and just like
get the Terry mask.
Makes
number
Terry
one
masks.
fan.
Yeah. You know what we didn't mention is the fact that there are one-hit KO moves that permanently kill your party members. Not in Joyful, but in Painful. Yeah.
Well,
which never happened to me on my first. I lost Nern to the gang, but I never lost anyone to random one-hit kills.
Yeah. The one thing that I hated about this one place that I tried to go to is like, what is it called? Despair Island or something?
Dismal Island.
I went there, and it's like this little cutscene where Brad is like dressed up as a weirdo. Yeah. Because this guy just asks you and you just do it.
You know that guy's Jim Sterling?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Jim Sterling like helped promote the Kickstarter and stuff, and like him and the other members of the Dismal Jesters podcast, like those 3 guys on the island are the Dismal Jesters podcast. Oh, yeah, and that's cool. Brad Sterling makes you like drink paint thinner and put on a dress.
Yeah, it's cool, but then there was like Jonathan comes up. Like after you do all that shit, there's this crazy boy Jonathan.
Sweet boy Jonathan.
And the first thing he did was like instantly kill Ajit. Chopped his head off with his teeth. And I'm like,
just bit his fucking head.
Well,
right
now
off.
I can't do any of that. I can't be bothered to go through all that shit again. I don't care what happens after Jonathan.
I see.
So I just didn't.
You just didn't do it?
Yeah.
I don't even know if you get anything for it. You might get like a couple good items. I think you get like a good gun or whatever. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
It's great though. Yeah. Is there another optional place? Is Trash Island optional?
I haven't.
You didn't go to Trash Island?
I don't think so.
Oh man, Trash Island's pretty cool. There's like a kart race. There's this shitty kart racing game that you do to get this like fucking flyman on your team. It's pretty fun. There's a funny thing on Trash Island where you can only get in if you have the stench status effect on Brad. So you have to equip. You can just equip an item that is stench, or you can just equip the old sock, which also gives you stench. And then when you smell bad, they're like, yeah, you're one of us, come on in, which is pretty great. We also didn't talk about Russian roulette, which is...
We kind of mentioned it, but we didn't talk about what happens.
I would just like to say that a lot of people get turned off in this game when the Russian roulette happens, and at that point you've maybe got like 6 party members, and you're likely to lose like 2 to 4 of them. Yeah. With this fucking... Because you get kidnapped and just forced to play Russian roulette.
It's unavoidable scenario where you get hit on the head after you leave a cave, and you're brought to a place and you're forced to do Russian roulette with your party members. You choose which party member it is. And I really should have known at the time, because when they do the thing, there's like this huge selection screen, and your guys are like the 6 at the top.
Yeah.
I should have figured that means there's loads of more party members to get.
Yeah.
But I didn't know whether that was true, so
yeah.
I felt like if any of my guys die, that's it. I'm gonna have to go back and reload. But it's
really hard.
It's nigh on impossible to get through without anybody dying.
Yeah. You're probably gonna lose some dudes.
Yeah. So most people, they get to that point and they lose a few guys and they think, well, this is just not fair. Yeah. I don't like this game.
But the truth is that you get shit tons of party members, and very few of them are like crucial. None of them are crucial. If you lose, you could lose like all of them and you're whatever. As long as you've got 4, you're set.
Yeah.
More or less. Some of them are pretty bad. But so it's not as bad as it seems, but I feel like a lot of people get to that part and like just feel really bad that like the game kills off a bunch of their party members.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think it feels cool. I think in the end it makes the game.
It does make the experience good, because, I mean, the whole point is that they're not really that important to your story.
Yeah,
they're just sort of hired for a little while, and death just happens to people.
Yeah,
it's a sad world, and fuck everyone.
Yeah, but. If you win 10 rounds of Russian roulette, which is incredibly hard, but...
If you get a bunch of party members, it's probably not too hard.
Well, yeah, you could actually do it legit, but really I think most people who would get this would be save scumming, you know? Like you go save, you come back, you win a round, you go save, you go back and you lose.
Oh, you can do that? You could just leave and then save?
Yeah, you can come back and do more rounds.
Yeah, I couldn't find the way back for some reason. I tried to find the way back and I'm just like...
Well, you could use the truck. You could use the truck to go back to a previous zone.
I don't know. Yeah, but like from the truck drops you at the main hub of the area, but I wasn't sure where to go to get to that bit.
There is a way. And you can go back and you can do more rounds, and if you win 10, you get this dude named Buckets as a party member, who is really cool looking, and he has cool guns, and he's a joy addict, and I don't know. You can see him like standing on the roof of the place.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he joins your party if you win 10 rounds.
Is it worth it at all?
Is anything worth it in this life? No, probably not.
Nah. I'm just gonna check my notes. Because we've been talking about a lot of things.
We have gone into great...
I mean, it's a good game. There's so much to talk about. We're missing out a lot of stuff. So if you're at all interested... Get that fucking game right now.
Yeah.
Smash that motherfucking download button on Steam.
Smash that buy button, dog. Buy it for a friend. Buy it on sale. Let me just go on about what a cool indie guy I am for a second. It was just a time in my life where I was just on a kick of buying like cheap bullshit Steam games just because, you know, I would go in there and just spend like $10 and buy like 8 different games and whatever. And I found Lisa totally randomly, just because it was highly rated, on sale for like $2.50 or $3 or something. It was a big sale, and I bought it, and I was blown the fuck away. It was like the best purchase I ever made. I was very lucky. I was very proud of myself for discovering this indie gem.
Smug face.
I did it.
You did that for Undertale as well, right?
No, a friend of mine told me about the Kickstarter for Undertale, and he made me play the demo, and I was like, oh shit, this is a good demo.
Yeah.
I think Lisa was in
2014.
He was like December 2014, and Undertale was September 2015 or somewhere around there. Yeah, the game gets compared to Undertale a lot. Notably, Super Bunny Hop did a video that claimed to compare and contrast them, but really just said like Undertale's good and Lisa is bad because.
Did he say that?
He pretty much threw Lisa under the bus. Like it was just a failed version of what Undertale strived to be.
Nah, that's gay.
It was stupid. Fucking George Weidman's a fucking hack.
So see, I watched that video as an Undertale fan, and I didn't know about Lisa, and he really didn't sell me on trying Lisa.
No,
but you did because I respect you a bit more.
George didn't fucking appreciate Lisa.
Yeah,
George is an asshole.
He didn't really. I hadn't seen the video in a while, so I don't know what he said, but it's probably not good.
It's not. He's not fair to the game at all.
Oh, speaking of good, I just read my notes. Horace Finkel, the truck driver.
Yeah. Oh,
that
God.
whole situation was so cool. Where you steal a truck and then you just drive over a bunch of people.
There's more to it even than that. The rabbit hole goes deeper.
Yeah.
Okay. So way early in the game, there's a secret. It's not that secret, but there's a side zone you can go to where there's a man with a bunch of kids, and one of the kids like lights a match, and he's like, "Hey, that's dangerous. Put that out. Hey, can you go get that can you grab that bucket for me?" And there's a bucket right next to him. So you hand it to him, and he throws the bucket on the kids, and it's gasoline, and the kids all light on fire and are on fire. And he's like, "No, not that bucket, you idiot. That was gasoline. That bucket of water. Go." And like the bucket he was talking about was like way over here on like a cliff. And you gotta like go up this cliff and grab the bucket. But you get back, and they're all just burned to ash. And he's like, "It's too late." This is the second worst thing that's ever happened to me.
The second worst thing?
Yeah, the second worst thing.
See, I didn't actually get to that part with the little kids and the burning gasoline. I got told about that later.
That's so great. I happened upon that right away. It was really swell.
So how does that go to Horace Finkel?
Well, Horace Finkel, do you want to tell about the bulldoze section generally?
Yeah, the way I remember
chip in about Horace Finkel.
Let me just see what I say. Yeah, I think there's a construction area, and you get a bulldozer. You like, I don't know, you kill a guy to get in, or it's just it's sitting there and you drive it.
Yeah, it's a construction site, and you just hop in this bulldozer. Yeah, like these tear ass in it.
These poor people trying to rebuild the world, building new buildings with actual tools and stuff, and you're just driving through with a bulldozer.
You're on a fucking mission. You gotta get buddy by any means necessary, and you're just driving through, and there's a sign at the beginning of this zone that's like, don't worry, you get experience for everyone you kill. So like you jump off this ledge and you back up over a guy and like off a cliff. And then you just keep going, and just people are like running, like the Horace Finkel is up there running along the rafters, like trying to keep up with you. Yeah. And there's this big burly guy, and he's like, and you gotta you
really feel like a fucking villain, like tearing through this like.
You're totally wrong. It's totally terrible what you're doing.
It's hilarious and sad, but you get experience. I mean,
you gotta get experience points, man. You gotta level up. I got like 2 level ups in that thing, man. Yeah, and but then you get to the end, and there's a guy in another bulldozer, and he's like, "Come on, Horace, you've been training your whole life for this." And he like,
oh yeah, flashes back.
Yeah, like you two like crash into each other. He like drives his bulldozer into yours, and then he flashes back to like his life, right? Like ever since he was a little boy, he wanted to be a bulldozer driver like his dad or something. Yeah. And then like he like spent all his money to get his bulldozer certificate, but then like. But he was like a terrible bulldozer driver. Like he's never.
And he got through on a like the guy just read it wrong and gave him a certificate anyway.
Yeah. He read the.
Like the guy who came in next was the.
He was like
person.
Horace Winkle or something.
Yeah.
Like, the diploma was meant for Horace Winkle, but due to a typo, Horace Finkel got it. And then like his wife got like crushed under some boulders, and like if only someone could drive a bulldozer to get the boulders off of her, but he couldn't do it because he's a terrible bulldozer driver. So his wife died. No, but yeah. So the thing is, that guy who the diploma was supposed to go to was the guy with the kids that you lit on fire. The most tragic thing that ever happened in his life was that he didn't get his bulldozer certificate because they gave it to Horace Finkel instead.
Oh my god.
And the second most thing that happened to him was that his orphanage full of kids got burned alive. And that's it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's the secret. That's the secret of Horace Finkel. Such deep lore. And
such deep, completely pointless, totally hilarious lore.
Absolutely unnecessary. And then, of course, you fight Horace Finkel in a hilarious RPG battle where Brad is in a bulldozer and he has bulldozer attacks, and you just blow him up. And he's like, "Oh no, Horace, you messed it up again." Battle over. Everyone gets experience.
It's great.
Oh
so
man. Great. We should at some point talk about the endings to Joyful, I think.
Yeah, the endings to Joyful was where it ties a lot of things up.
Is that what you were going to say?
Well, I was going to talk about like the joy mutants and the lore behind the mutant and the scientist and Dr. Yado and all that. So that is.
Oh yeah, it's tied in. It's tied into all that.
So yeah, the endings of Joyful. Joyful is like you kill everyone and then there's no one left to kill, and Buddy is like, I think one of the big mutants from the beginning of the game just comes, and then Buzzo like protects you from it or something.
Oh, that's the very end.
The very end? What were you thinking of?
I don't know. Yeah, there's a part where there's this guy who like tries to rape Buddy one time, and he manages, but like he hangs Rando by like a piece of barbed wire.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she like has to hold on to the wire, and like so he is gonna like rape her because she can't let go of the wire or he'll fall to his death. But you get to choose. You get to choose whether you let go or not.
Yeah, I held on because Rando was a good boy.
Yeah, he is a good boy.
I didn't want to do anything bad to him.
But then it's not entirely clear, but it seems to me like he doesn't actually do it because
I think he might have been copping a feel or something, just touching
like
it.
But
like
he doesn't have enough time.
He doesn't have enough time to do much.
No, but like then this mutant shows up
and kills him.
Oh, on the subject of rape, Sticky.
Oh yeah.
Sticky is one of your friends, is one of Brad's friends in the first game, or in Painful, and Brad comes to believe, I think, that Sticky like rapes Buddy or molests her, or maybe not even rapes her, just does something.
Is that Buddy talks about? She says, "No, it's okay. They're gonna, gonna help repopulate the world. I'm gonna save the world." And then he's
Sticky showed me how or something.
They showed me what Sticky told me about pregnancy and stuff, and said he showed me how.
Yeah.
And that's the name.
Brad's like, what did he do to you?
Yeah, like he thinks Sticky. I also thought that Sticky.
It seems like it, but then you find him later. I think it's in Joy. You find him later, and it's not, and you have to fight Sticky. And he seems like a really stand-up guy, actually. Like, he comes across as, like, way more heroic than Brad when you fight him. And then later on, I think you're talking to Rando in a cave, and Rando asks, like, what Sticky did.
Yeah, in Joyful, your Buddy and Rando are in a cave, and Rando asks, and Buddy says, no, he didn't do anything.
He just told me stories and cried a lot, I think is what she says. Poor Sticky. What were we on before that?
We're on the ending of
we were on the mutant. Oh yeah, so that mutant that shows up and kind of stops that guy from doing that thing, she shows up at the end. She's like Dr. Yado's like personal thing. He calls her sweetheart.
Wait, the main mutant from the beginning of Joyful that kills all those guys?
Yes. I think so.
The one that jumps down with the big arms.
Yeah, Yado calls her sweetheart, and some people have hypostulated that it's his wife, but I don't think it is, because you actually find his wife or Buddy's mom, like you find her dead in like a laboratory.
Oh no, there's a mutant, isn't there? There's like a really gross mutant in the laboratory.
There's also the body of a woman who is like pretty.
Oh no, that's in like pain mode in the actual lab.
Yeah, there is a mutant there, but that's not her mom.
Yeah,
her mom is just there
doctor.
dead with a suicide note.
Yeah.
And then so she shows up at the end, and you're going after Yada. God, what? I don't even remember what you're doing
what
at the very end of Joyful. Like, what are you?
I remember mostly. It's
okay.
You go back to the plaque and you've written off the last name.
Yeah. You've crossed off all the names.
And then if you go to the right, I don't think anything happens. But if you go to the left, there's the mutant. I don't know why you would go to the left. I'm trying to think. Something happens. So, maybe you're just exploring. Doesn't matter. You're going to the left, and then the mutant appears, and Buzzo stops the mutant, and then I think you're like chasing after Yado. I think you see Yado or something. No, that's what it is. You're at the plaque, and you see the guy with the trumpet, and then he runs away, and then you follow him to the left.
And by this point, like, it's not just the mutants that are lying around. There's like Brad and Buzzo and Rando. Even though Rando dies in that encounter with the guy.
The barbed wire.
Yeah, with the barbed wire. He dies there, and his body is just like at the bottom of this pit from then on. Okay. And then you just like
you follow him. The mutant sweetheart comes down. Buzzo blocks it or starts fighting it and tells you, go ahead, go quick, it's Dr. Yado, it's your dad or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you go confront Dr. Yado, and he's on a throne of huge blob mutant guys with his trumpet. One of the mutants is holding the trumpet with a like pinky finger sort of coming out like that. Mm-hmm. And it's implied or explicitly said that the trumpet is controlling the mutants, and he is the scientist who created Joy.
As well as Buddy's father, probably.
Buddy's father, and he says, like, all this stuff, like, I don't actually remember what he says. I think Buddy's just like, shut up, I'll kill you.
I think he's just like, get out of here or something. Like, I don't think he's actually that interested in Buddy.
Yeah, it's weird, because, like, he's just there with his mutants, and he's like, I'm the king, fuck off. And Buddy's like, I'll kill you.
I think she's just gonna kill him because that's what she does at this point. She just kills everyone.
It's not really like a big... deliberate thing.
But she starts to have joy hallucinations. And
hallucinations.
He turns into Rando. Like she sees him turn into Rando's face. Yeah. And it's sad. And then she sees she sees Brad.
She sees Brad, and Brad. Did we talk about that already?
Yeah, we did. There's a whole big scene where she sees all her good memories of Brad.
Yeah, good memories of Brad.
Kill them all.
And you have to keep killing these nice memories, and then after that, you go to the left again. And Dr. Yado is just up against the cliff. Yeah. And he doesn't have his trumpet at the time, I don't think. But the thing is, he's just like, no, I'm your father, and I'm powerful, and you should listen to me, and all this stuff. And then I think Buddy just kills him.
No, Buzzo does. Buzzo like throws a sword or something.
Oh yeah, he throws a sword, and it's like, don't listen to that guy, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And in the ending...
I think she says, is he really my father? And he says, no, but like, he probably is. Yeah, I think he's speaking symbolically or whatever. Like, Brad's your real dad.
Yeah, Brad's your real dad. Because there's like there's different endings, like cutscenes, but without like visuals. There's for like text boxes to show you characters talking.
Yeah, extra dialogue between characters.
There's one with Dr. Yado and Buzzo discussing Joy and the fact that Joy is this new thing, and experiments on their daughter, or Dr. Yado's daughter, which is implied to be Buddy. Mm-hmm. And there's this whole... Before that stuff...
Oh, and also Buzzo turns into a mutant.
Yeah, there's this whole thing where Buzzo admits that he's probably not... he's not... Brad isn't a bad guy, really.
Oh, did we mention that Buzzo was, like, in love with Lisa as a kid?
No.
And Lisa made him do all these bad things?
Yeah.
Because Lisa was all messed up about the whole, rape and stuff. And
yeah, Lisa was fucked up about the rape. She didn't like it, and she thought if she had fucked up her face, that Marty wouldn't rape her anymore. Marty wouldn't touch her.
She made Buzzo get a saw and, like, cut the paw off a cat. And it worked, and
then she told him.
And she was like, "Okay, now do me. Now do my face."
It's like, ooh,
yeah,
it's gross. But
and then in the future, it seems like Buzzo did the same thing to Rusty, who became Rando, and I'm not sure why. I
don't know how Rando got his fucked up face.
It definitely was Buzzo.
Sure?
There's definitely I think it's in Painful that you can. One of the endings to Painful. I think it's because I don't know. I forget how you get it, but yeah, you see a thing of like. Brad finds Rando like with a fucked up face, and he's like, he used a saw. What did I do? Why did he do it?
Interesting.
And Brad is kind of weirdly cold to Rusty in that scene. Like, he doesn't seem that compassionate, even though like he's got his face sawed off. Brad's a complex guy. It's not. Who knows why he does? Because he adopts Buddy, and he adopted Rusty, even though he didn't seem to like him very much. But he did like adopt him, and Rusty started calling him Dad. But like in their conversations when they're sleeping by the fire. By the way, when you have Rando in your party, when you're Buddy, Rando stands guard over you and lets you sleep. So like you're safe sleeping because you have Rando with you. It's awesome. Although Rando doesn't get healed, but he's really strong anyway.
Yeah.
He adopts Buddy, and he sort of adopts Rusty, but he doesn't. He says he hates them calling them Dad. Like they both. Buddy says like he hated to be called Dad, and Rando's like, yeah, he didn't like when I called him that either.
Yeah. I wonder why. I guess it's just because his own father was like horrible.
Yeah, you know what? That is probably why. Yeah. He doesn't have good feelings about dads in general.
So yeah, Buzzo at the end, Buzzo loved Lisa, and when she died, Brad blamed himself and Buzzo blamed Brad. So that's why Buzzo and Brad are like, you know, Buzzo is doing all these horrible things to Brad in Painful. But at the end of Joyful, he's like, he doesn't tell Lisa, Buddy, now I did it. He doesn't tell Buddy the truth about who her father is. He just says, you know, Brad wasn't so bad and he was good for you. And and then when he turns in, because he was fighting the mutant, he's like really fucked up, and then he just sort of dies. And then he transforms into a mutant and he says, oh, Lisa, I love you, Lisa, why? And then it's like a horrible fucking thing, and then you have to kill him as well.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up.
It's really miserable. This game is so great. This game is so fucking great,
so
man.
Good, dude.
It's so fucking good, dude. Play this game.
Emotions.
Play this game, everyone. The story's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't spoil it because it's nice to just experience.
Yeah, I would say even if you've heard us tell all this, I still think you should fucking play it.
Download that shit fucking immediately. It's not too expensive. Like,
I think it's like
$5 or something.
10? I thought it was more.
Oh no, I got it on a sale.
I think I got it on sale. I think it's worth the full $10, but you can find it on sale pretty often. So wait for a sale if you want. The DLC is like $5.
Yeah,
and it's worth it. It's shorter than the main game, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And
I guess we've talked about really enough.
Well, I just want to say let's talk about the endings, like the final endings.
Final endings?
Because they're really weird. They're depending on.
Oh yeah, with the baby.
Yeah, sort of.
All right.
What influences the ending? I think it's like whether you find there's something like whether you find the secret lab. I think that you have to go past the Green Ranger to find. And there's like whether you talk to Rando after he falls from the thing, and whether you decided to let him go or to hold on.
Yeah, there's a couple little things like that.
There's a lot of shit.
The ending I got was, there's a choice right at the end where Dr. Yado, the scientist guy, has.
Oh yeah, the main choice is right at the end.
He has an antidote to the joy mutation, so he gets you have it, and you can choose to use it or use it.
The thing is, you see Rando and Brad, right?
Yeah, hallucinations.
You see hallucinations of Rando and Brad, and Rando comes out and he's like, "Buddy, you're so powerful and beautiful and wonderful, and you're our queen, and we love you and we worship you," and like. It's pretty clear that it's a hallucination.
Yeah.
But you can choose whether you want to stay with them or leave them, which basically means take the antidote or don't take the antidote.
Yeah, if you don't take the antidote, I guess it's staying with them.
Yeah.
I forget which one. It's not quite clear.
If you stay with them, you don't take the antidote, I think.
Yeah.
And so which one did you do?
I took the antidote, and Lisa was there with holding a baby.
Yeah.
At the end, and she had Brad also there.
The mutant Brad.
Mutant Brad, and I think a grave for Rando.
Yeah, I think so.
And at first I was like...
And she had the trumpet too.
She had the trumpet to control the mutants, so she was basically the queen of the wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like it's not that she fucked Brad as a mutant.
Some people have postulated that she used the trumpet and fucks Brad and has the baby.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. I mean, like that, but
well, what do you think?
It's weird because I don't know.
I don't know. Like that's kind of the only thing that I can think of. but it's awful.
It's not.
I mean, I have heard some people say that maybe that guy who tried to rape her while she was holding the barbed wire actually did it, and that got her pregnant. And the baby does have, like, gray hair. It's kind of a weird-looking baby.
Yeah, it's a very strange... I mean,
I guess that is one possibility.
I guess...
Although it doesn't feel
people
right.
think it could be Brad because it's a strange-looking baby, because it's the baby of a mutant and a human.
It is a weird-looking baby.
But it's generally a happy ending.
But it's a weird-looking game. Well,
generally because, like...
It's better than the alternative, I guess.
I think that it's the best ending that could happen, like she's creating new humans or new life. Because, like, what would happen, really, is, like, if she wasn't there, everyone would become a mutant, and then they would all either kill each other or die, and then... I guess evolution would... Because there are normal deer around.
Yeah.
Like, humans would die out, and then, like, thousands of years later, a new species might take over the planet. I guess it wouldn't really be that bad. It would just be that humans are gone.
That's really bad, dude. That's actually, like, the worst-case scenario. The extinction of all humans.
Well, you know...
Not that bad, he says.
Well, I mean, it's pretty fucking weird if she fucked Brad and made...
You think that's worse than the extinction of all humans?
Well, I mean, I'm not living there. I don't care.
Well, I don't know.
I guess if I lived in that world...
I guess I would... Because, like, you only turn into a mutant if you do joy, so I would expect that there would be plenty of people left that didn't do joy, so I don't think that everyone would eventually become a mutant.
I suppose, but then there would be mutants around, and you would have to survive in a world where there's so many fucking giant monsters.
Make some diesel firebombs and go to town.
I guess.
I don't know.
I feel like sometimes there's a point in some apocalyptic stories where it's, like, so difficult to just hang on to being alive that you may as well just give up. It's just wipe the slate clean. Everyone's dead, please.
Like, it's too bad.
It's too much.
Forget about it.
It's too depressing for every single person alive.
Yeah.
Constantly. Just start over. That's why I think that might not be so bad if, like, oh yeah, everyone's dead, and then the deers are still fine. So the deers evolve into deer people.
It's their world now.
Yeah, planet of the deers. They become humanoid over thousands of years.
If you don't take the antidote, I hope I remember this right, but I know that what you see is... Did you see this?
I looked at the ending, so I know that Buddy is a big old mutant.
You see huge mutant Buddy, and I think she might have a trumpet, even.
No, she doesn't have a trumpet.
Okay, but Brad is there, but he's, like, dead. Like, Brad
is dead. Brad is in two sides. There's, like, his head, and then there's blood, and then there's his body on the other side of a ravine. So she's ripped him in half.
Yeah.
And I think she's, like, crying or, like looming over, like, Rando's head or mask or something. Something to do with Rando.
Is that right? I forget.
There are different versions of that ending.
I forget what she's standing over.
There's one ending where she's holding a baby anyway, as a mutant.
Is there?
Yeah, it's weird. You have to...
Are you sure?
No, I've checked.
I thought there were just the two.
Yeah, you have to see the secret place with Lisa's coffin or something.
Yeah.
In order to get the ending where she's a mutant holding a baby. It's odd. I don't know how that works.
Ooh, boy!
It's very strange.
Oh, man.
Like, as a mutant giving birth at all.
Yeah. I kind of thought she was standing over Brad, standing over Brad's corpse that she tore in half, or something.
No, I think Brad is just, like, in two halves on either side of the screen.
Okay.
Buddy's in the middle as a mutant, and there's something
She's
to do with
standing over something
related to
she
Rando.
Looks sad about. Yeah, okay. I do remember that. So yeah, I guess that's the bad ending. They're both pretty rough.
Everything's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know, it can't be good, but it's a good game. 10 out of 10.
Did Lisa fuck Brad? I mean, that's a question also, but did Buddy fuck Brad? Did Marty fuck Brad? That's the only...
Who fucked who? It's like a celebrity gossip magazine.
Yeah. Yeah, you decide. Go play the game. All the game. Get every achievement, every secret ending, and then come back and tell us in the comments, did Marty fuck Brad?
Did Marty fuck Brad?
That's the sequel.
Oh,
that's
shit.
This is the sequel. No, that's not the sequel. I don't know. Who fucked who? No, actually, I don't care. I got my.
Did Brad fuck Brad?
Did Brad fuck Brad? When he was torn in half, did his one half fuck his other half?
What would he fuck? The mouth?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
It's a good game.
Yes, good game. I think that is all that we have to talk about. I guess I'll have a link to my notes in the description. I will also have a link to the free Lisa the First and a link to the Steam of Lisa the Painful and stuff.
Yeah.
So you can buy that shit.
Please do. The developer is making is making a new game, Ninja Death.
I don't know.
He's
following it.
I think he's changed the name recently. He used to be known as Dingaling Games. Now he's Love Brad Games. He's on Twitter. He's awesome. I did fan art for him one time. I did the picture of like all the rando guys like reduced to mush, and Brad standing on top of him going, Lisa.
I still need to see that.
I'm really proud of it, and he retweeted it, so apparently he liked it too. I feel like I never mentioned one of the most interesting facts about this game, which is that the developer himself is a martial artist, like Brad. This really should have been said at the beginning, but right at the end, I want to say, if you look up the developer of this game, who made this game about like a sad like waste of a martial arts instructor. This guy himself is like a dedicated martial artist who, before he was making video games, he made his living like winning performance martial arts tournaments. And you can find videos of him if you Google Austin Jorgensen. You can find videos of him like dancing with a sword on stage and doing like flips and splits and sword slashes and stuff. It's interesting.
He's a cool guy.
It's really interesting that a guy like that would be like, hey, let me make this big old game project and kickstart it and stuff and spend like however many years it took. But he did, and I'm glad. Yeah,
it's a good experience, and that's about it. It was a good reason to play GRPJ.
A great reason.
And fuck off.
We didn't talk about the middle finger.
Oh, the middle finger.
And
Here
how
it is.
Every game has a secret middle finger. You gotta climb a really long ladder to find it.
Yeah.
Find it.
Find that fucking finger. I don't really want to go into that.
All right, fine.
This is kind of dumb.
This is dumb. Feel free to edit out.
I'll edit out the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll make it so it's just the green. I'll edit out us.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I turn this off?